this week in Bachelor Nation started a little, I think it was a good conversation. If you want
We've
to.
had a lot of good chats, and it's literally been just like that train rolling since Tuesday of last week. Crazy shit. I mean, like, before we even get into the episode, we had a full Twitter storm from Dylan Barbour. If you remember him from Last Paradise, he was the one who ended up with Hannah G, the cute little Cupid doll that we all love.
Yeah, she's got the big eyeballs.
Big eyes. Like, she's just a little cutie. But, like, he had a good edit. But he's been through this experience. He's watching these poor people on Matt James's season just being like the full trauma train rolling through town, and was like, yeah, guys, this is bad for everyone. Like, production doesn't care about you. They want to get your story and kind of kick you to the curb. And we have heard from Dylan, and now we have seen that over and over and over and over and over again happen every day with like this weird Rachel drama, which, like, I mean, it is just, I want to unpack all like the love and relationship and things of that sort, but like production is just making us so unhappy.
There's a lot going on with the production. That's my cat.
Kitty.
Yeah, no, there just so much weird stuff with production. I mean, obviously Dylan was speaking out about the mistreatment of cast members all over, like there's no mental health resources for them. They're put into very big spotlights, a lot of them who are not prepared for what being a public figure looks like and feels like.
Well,
And
yeah, and like also they don't know what that feels like, and then their experiences showed to the world in such a different way of what they even thought, that now they have new fresh haters. They have, I mean, it's a complete overwhelm.
Yeah, it's a lot to deal with. And then Rachel, who is kind of the big firestorm that's happening right now, where in 2018 she went to a Old South ball, I think is what they called it.
Yeah, it's like it's a fraternity party that's like based in like celebrating antebellum South.
Yeah, like South Pride, which South Pride is heavily rooted in racist beliefs that the South should have won, that they were right, and that is in
The
regards
South will
to
rise again is them saying like slavery will absolutely be a cute, fun thing that we implement.
because the people celebrating it are not the people who would be enslaved. Like, let's be honest, they are the people in power, and that's why they love it.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a ton of like outside sources of the Bachelor world that I've had to like pay attention to this week. Reality Steve and Ashley Spivey went live yesterday just to talk about the Rachel. I think they were assuming that like her statement would be imminent, so they had like some tea to spill. Ashley Spivey is just, I mean, she's my favorite person. If you guys aren't following her already, she was on Brad Womack's season, and she has been like a source of just like good anti-racism, good feminism in the world of The Bachelor. She, I mean, laid it out. Okay, so I kind of forgot where my train of thought was, but they just had a lot to say. Like Ashley Spivey was talking about like when you reference antebellum is that period before slavery. Like that's like the beautiful portion of like the South. Like we talk about like this precious period because not a lot of them had to work. The Southern Belle, this is what I was getting to. The Southern Belle is this very interesting figure in history. This is like the dress, all the dress that the women are wearing, Rachel and all her friends. Like when you go to when you go to like this KA fraternity Old South party, like you dress up in the period. A Southern Belle is a racist figure because in everywhere else in America where slavery wasn't a thing, the tasks of the housekeeping fell on the women. So they didn't have a luxurious life. They didn't have the time or ability to put their feet up. So like when you dress up as a woman who's completely kept and don't have to do a lot of work, just so you know, that's because the slaves were doing the work. Like, you may not know. I feel bad for Rachel because she is pretty young. And like, she just, I mean, I went out on a date with this girl last week who she's from LSU. She was like, yeah, growing up in college, like you wanted to be invited to the Old South party. Like you had made it. That was like your social calendar. Like you've done it. You got invited to this frat party. And so of course, like, you're just going to be like thinking about your clout and like the fun things you get to do and like go dress up with your friends and get wasted and da 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 da. And you don't necessarily know that everything you're doing is like a huge, big racist fuck you to an entire group of people.
Yeah.
But now that all this information is released, I know there's been like all this back and forth, like, don't come for Rachel and don't attack her. But it's like, people need to be speaking about what this stuff means to them because she needs to have the information to better herself. Like, how is she gonna learn that this is wrong if no one like brings it up? I'm not saying go to her page and be like, hey, you racist fuck. I heard this and this and this about you, but like, it's not completely crazy to be holding her accountable. It's not completely crazy to be like, hey, this is the implication of the thing, the actions and your behaviors. Like, there's such a difference, and we're getting like a big white fragility response.
Oh, I think across the board with a lot of these contestants, I mean, MJ turned the comments off or limited the comments on most of her posts because she doesn't want to hear people telling her that she did like bullying behavior or mean girl stuff. It's like a lack of wanting to be held accountable. I mean,
but like, I will say, I'm not going to play devil's advocate, but like, there is a portion that is just straight up trolling in the comments. Absolutely. And then there's a portion of like holding accountable. I don't think anyone that's coming to your page and writing in your comments like, hey, you big fat bully, I don't know what they're even saying to her.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of glanced through MJ's stuff, and most of her comments were like, yeah, you're a boss bitch, like, way to tell everybody. Like, it was a lot of bolstering her behavior, and there was no like, hey, what you said wasn't great, like, I felt triggered by this, or, you know, just like coming to her as a human being and communicating like how her comments made you feel. It's like, I don't know if she would even allow that, because it was all just like, damn girl, you tell them, like, they ain't ready for that. Like,
those are the comments that she's approving.
Yeah, it was just kind of gross.
That's tricky. It's really tricky. And I know in the time of social media, like, cancel culture and like be the woke police, like, and all that stuff. Like, I know it's hard. Like, and if I was a public figure, I would have been held accountable for some things, right? Like, but this world has gotten so backwards. I don't even know where I stand at this point. Like, don't go bully these people, but also we need to hold them accountable.
Like, hold people accountable. I mean, don't follow them if they don't have your ideals. I think is a big thing, because I think that these people really thrive off of the attention and the likes, the follows, the validation of that. So when you stop engaging in their stuff, I think it does send a message. I don't know. I think that we should practice extra kindness is a big thing, like, especially to people who have a different viewpoint or maybe don't see your point of view. I think when you reach out to somebody with kindness and just say, hey, when you did this, it hurt me, and here's why, and just explaining it from your point of view instead of just getting very like, you fucking suck, and like, how fucking dare you? Like, when you come at people in a really aggressive way, it really puts them on the defensive. So,
well, and like, what a funny reaction to being like, you had bad behavior, and so I'm gonna come for you so hard. It's like,
I'm gonna make you fucking cry.
Did you learn nothing from the bad showing of these like mean women?
Like when you tell people kill yourself,
it's too far.
You're no better.
No.
It's really not our place to say those things. Like nobody has that right to say things like that. So,
but I do think, I mean, if you look at, this is what Reality Steve and Spivey talked about yesterday too. They were like, there's a difference between like coming to your page and bullying you and holding public figures accountable. So like with this whole like Rachel shitstorm, she has had like a huge, like her percentage of growth. Like if you look at Bachelor data, Instagram, her percentage of growth has been really high, which calculates into ads and money and clout and things. These Black women on the show that are amazing, like Mish, we love Mish, Bree, their numbers aren't as high. So like they're not going to come off of the show and have all of these same money making opportunities as the people that you follow and the, Kits and the Rachels of the world. Like, I don't even know if I'm making any sense.
No, you are. Like, I'm just looking up the numbers right now. And
the numbers are good. They were kind of covering them on, like, I think the top 4.
The top 5 are white girls. Well,
white
Abigail,
girls, and then Bree is like number 6.
Abigail's half Korean. So she's third biggest following, but somebody did make a point. She is white passing. I mean,
she is white passing. I didn't know she was half Korean until you said that right now.
But yeah, so there are 5 women above, and they have like at least 5 times as many. Like I'll try to hold this up, but my phone's also cracked.
Yeah. Also, you guys just go to at Bachelor Data. There's so much good shit there.
I should just put the infographic.
But like so like Rachel Lindsay, our first Black Bachelor, like she has been in the public eye for so long. She has hosting gigs across the board. She hasn't even hit 1 million followers yet.
It's wild because she's on MTV, she's on Extra, she's been on
Sports Center.
Yeah, like, she's all over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it is disproportionate. That Bree is the next highest after Kit, who's 5th, and it's like the bar for Kit is here and then Bree's here. Like it's not even close. These remaining women of color are not even close.
Yeah. So like we're not sitting here saying like we should be doxing Rachel and her family, and like we don't want to bully her, but like everyone in the world of the Bachelor that is on more of like a liberal side that like kind of cares about like the feelings, we're all kind of just waiting for her statement. We all kind of want to hear like what she thinks of what people like the stories that are connected to her name. Mm-hmm. The tea that we got from the Reality Steve Spivey live was that, so Reality Steve has been in contact with like 3 either family members or friends of Rachel, not Rachel Lindsay, past Bachelor, Rachel from this season of The Bachelor, Rachel Kirkconnell.
Kirkconnell, yeah.
Yeah, Rachel K.
Special K.
I've been told by Reality Steve that the ABC has said, do not make a statement, do not say anything. Like basically she's been on a gag order and not able to speak. And then the old South pictures came out this weekend and they were like, okay, you're gonna have to make a statement. And so it's been like partial cover they ass, partial, I mean, or they kind of just don't give a shit. Like it kind of seems like ABC like doesn't care that there's some racial backlash, but now that it's like hit a moment of high that's high enough, they've had to send out their people. So we got a Chris Harrison interview
with Rachel Lindsay on Extra,
which was just like so. I don't know if you guys watched it. It's only 13 minutes long. It's brief and it is fully disgusting.
I mean, it should have been even more brief because nothing gets talked about. He just talks in circles. He defends all of.
He cries like a big white baby. That's all
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't let Rachel talk at all and just shuts her
He
down
talks
every
over her
time.
like I'm Kate and she's Sammie. He doesn't get a word in edgewise.
I'm so heated over this because it was just so frustrating to watch somebody who is so unqualified speak on a topic that he had no right to talk over somebody who was qualified to speak on this, who was just asking very thoughtful questions. I would have just stopped him and said, "Why are you here?
What are you even who are you even fighting to protect?" I understand that the trolls that have been coming for Rachel and her family, it's been excessive. It's been
Yeah,
a lot, but I have to say, people are coming for her hard because she hasn't said a thing. And that's because ABC hasn't allowed her to say a thing. And now instead of letting her like release a statement and take responsibility for her actions and apologize and want to move forward, they're like, you know, it would be better. Let's roll out this white fuckity fuck Chris Harrison against the only other black lead we've ever had and let him look like an absolute clown.
well, besides Stage.
This whole season has like the disgusting white fragility that we have, like the Victorias, the Chris Harrisons, the MJs,
What has been lovely is that the fan base seems to be attacking all of this. I mean, it just seems like the fan base is very like, no, quit doing this. And
the base is there's a petition. Here's a call to action for everybody. Sign the petition getting Chris Harrison booted as
we'll link
host.
it below.
In the show notes, it's in my story. We're not canceling him, but he doesn't need to have this job anymore. He is not the right person for this job.
You know
he
what?
is not protecting the contestants. He is not protecting his black lead. He's not helping anyone. He just looks like an asshole.
It was a weird product placement for his book. He had his book behind him. He had, I think, something else that he was sponsored by, Manly Bands, which seems
Manly
like
is his company. That's his little spin-off company, which like great. Go write your books and sell your Manly Bands and go back to House Hunters as a host. We don't need you here anymore.
Or just don't be in the public eye. I mean, you are a complete dinosaur of a different era that we don't need these like white sympathizing hosts that just don't care about any other experience but their own hetero cis normative like.
Yeah, he was so protective because he was like, well, people come for me all the time. And it's like, okay, well, maybe look at your actions and don't just like insecurity vomit all over the fucking world. Like, we don't need to hear from you.
Yeah, they're not attacking you for the color of your skin, Chris. We are.
No. Well, and he also, Ashley Spivey did, I mean, if you need to learn anything from this show is like, just follow Ashley Spivey. She was like, I read a lot and I love speeches and I love like the written and the spoken word. It's very important to me. And the words he chose to highlight in this 15-minute interview with Rachel Lindsay: judge, jury, and executioner. Black people don't get a judge or a jury. They literally just get a police executioner. So like, that's an ugly thing. They said they wanted to throw Rachel in the river, which like you and I covered that last week. Throw down the river is a very racially driven statement. And
especially like
also he didn't listen to us talk about cultural competency. All he has to do, anyone has to do, is say, I don't know. The culture that I was raised with is white supremacy. And so I need more information and I need to grow from that.
Yeah. I mean, he should have said to Rachel, like Rachel Lindsay, I know I'm not qualified to have this conversation, but I would really love to hear your take because you are way more qualified for this than I am.
And we've also had precedent for that because they drag her ass out every time we have to have a racial conversation. Remember, they brought her on to, I think it was Colton season. There was like a lot of backlash against the Black contestants, and Rachel Lindsay had to have like a fireside chat. They didn't allow Chris Harrison to speak to this, they brought Rachel out, and they were like, please discuss this on this like weird finale episode. So ABC knows that Chris should not be talking about race, and then they sent his ass to talk to Rachel about race. And like he has this Here to Make Friends talks about his role as like this benevolent father figure on the show, and they're like, it's really dangerous and it has only gotten worse. And like that's exactly what we saw on that live, was him being like, he's like, Rachel, we have fun. Like
we
get
talked
along so
about
well.
these
We have
hard
these chats all
topics.
the time. Like you and me, like we would go back for forever. And it's like, okay, great, but that's not what this chat is about. And the fact that you won't let a Black woman speak to the world about this racist interaction you have from a contestant on your show is sick.
Yeah. I mean, she was merely asking just very thoughtful questions from him and just getting nooch.
Not even nooch, just like full interrupt speaking. Like I feel like she tries to ask questions and tries to like carry on an interview for 5 minutes, and then the rest of it is just like, okay, and then like Chris just is like,
and then another thing, like, ooh, we have to be nice to her because this is a poor girl's. I mean, this almost
we're ruining this poor girl's life. What about you want to talk about the person that we're ruining? Like, remember Jubilee on Ben's season? They brought her back on Paradise and re-triggered her all over again, and then just like drug it out all over TV. They never checked in with her. We never talked about how Jubilee is doing. Here to Make Friends reached out to have her on the pod. They were like, oh, we hear you're in New York now. Like, we would love if you wanted to come talk about the show. And she was like, this isn't a slight to the show. This isn't a slight to you guys. But for my mental health, I have to just disconnect myself. And this isn't like, I can't publicly connect myself to this anymore. Because nobody held her hand. Nobody was like, oh, everyone is coming and hating her. Like, it's very interesting to see the support of The Bachelor being this girl, Rachel K, when it's just gross, and people just need to do better. Like all Chris had to do was like, it's really too bad that we're doxing her grandma while her grandpa is in the hospital with COVID. Literally, people were calling her grandma, Rachel Kirkconnell or whatever her name is. They were calling her grandma and like, what do you think about your grandkids' bad racist activities going to this like frat party? That's obviously too far. We need to bring that stuff to front. It's okay to hold her accountable. She's a public figure now, but now we need to give her the grace to like make a statement, show us that she's possibly learned and like is being anti-racist. But we need ABC.
If she's gonna double down, then you at least know where she stands on the issue, and that you just can't change her, and that you have to move on from that.
Well, and also like, I'm not saying we should fully bully her, but like if she says, I don't give a shit, I lead by example and I'm not racist, like
tell the show.
Unfollow that woman, give her no ad space, give her no holds anything.
Don't click
over
on anything.
Anybody.
Like, I think that's the only way that we should be interacting with people who we don't agree with, or, you know, people who are actually out there actively hurting people, is like, unfollow them. Don't engage with any of their content, not even to get into flame wars with other people on there. And, you know, tell the shows and the avenues that they're working through, tell them that you're not interested in seeing them, and that that's your money at work. Like,
do we need to pull our 4 watches a week from The Bachelor?
Yeah.
We're having a moment right now.
We've only watched it twice this week, so we pull back. And I
shared my first viewing with 2 other people. So like, numbers wise, like really, where are we? But like, we did start this podcast as like, you're a love coach and I'm a Bachelor fan. And like, this is a great way to like dissect people and how they date and like the weird messages that we're sending out into the world. But it's like, if the show cannot bring itself to learn from its own mistakes, like they cast racist ass Lee on Rachel Lindsay's season, and we're here again with like Rachel Kirkconnell, who like hasn't scrubbed her Instagram, does not understand. I mean,
Why?
I don't know, you guys.
I
It's
mean,
really, really
the casting vetting process, if all of these people,
non-existent.
it's not. I mean, if people are able to dig all of this up in like 1.5 seconds, like your casting department is not doing a good job. And if even if they find these things and they still allow it to go through, why are they not going, hey, in order for us to cast you, you should probably delete this, and this. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's almost good that we aren't getting that experience of things getting scrubbed so that we do get to see who these people
Absolutely.
are.
This is an insanely beautiful learning experience. And also Ashley Spivey said something on Twitter last week that was like, we can see and understand that Rachel and her family have they are racist because they didn't even think to take this off the internet. Like this to them was like completely acceptable, great behavior that they didn't even go back and delete these tweets, go back and delete cultural appropriation, like, which I don't even understand how you haven't heard about cultural appropriation. I don't even think I can wear my hair in 2 braids anymore because of what I've heard about cultural appropriation. So the fact that you think you can wear all the things that you have in your pictures is crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, with the hair thing, I've been studying it a lot, and they say if it's more than 2 braids, it goes into cultural appropriation territory. And if you're specifically going into a hair place and asking for boxer braids, the
Boxer braids are racist. Absolutely.
Yeah, when you go in asking for that Kardashian look, that was appropriating from Black culture. But if you just wear French braid, like 2 French braids, you're fine. 2 Dutch braids.
I've been following, so like with the 2020 stuff, I've been like trying to do more anti-racist work and follow different voices for me. Obviously, we are 2 white blonde girls covering the Bachelor.
2 whitest girls in the room.
And a lot of my friends look like you and look like me. And so I wanted to do a good job of like diversifying what I'm seeing on my feed and diversifying information that I'm taking in from the world. And like, there was not one moment of Rachel being like, oh yeah, I want to learn other things. Oh, but so what I was saying, the girls, the ladies that I follow,
The ladies.
a lot of them are saying no 2 braids. They say white women can only do 1 braid.
It's
and I think that's fine, but that's really hard for me.
1 braid looks terrible on me. But I hear different things because I'm in a group of 20, that's like 30,000 women now. I can't divulge too much about the group because it's a secret, but there have been multiple conversations about appropriation and hair. That is a huge topic in that group because you often get white girls going, I want somebody to do lots of braids in my hair, like really tight braids, because I'm going to a festival. And it becomes a huge shitstorm every time. And the general consensus in there was anything more than 2 braids, not okay.
That works for me. I only have like 3 strands of hair, so I could really only work with 1 braid. So I guess that's fine. I did try to do 3 braids once. I didn't have enough hair for 3 braids.
I have enough for all of the braids. But
you have 10 pounds of hair on that head. Fully yours. It's disgusting. I'm so jealous.
It's funny sometimes I think about if I were to be on one of these shows and people would assume I had like one of those halos of hair or like clip-ins and stuff.
Oh my gosh, she's like, I got to go see Sammie's extensionist. She is incredible. And you're like, no,
I can't
God,
even
it takes me literally an hour to blow dry this. It's not cute. It's not fun. It's a lot of hair.
It is. I have to section it into 8 sections.
I just brush my hair before I wash it, and then it dries just like this.
My hair would never dry if I air dried it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who have like moldy buns because they like wash their hair, it doesn't dry, and then they put it in top knot. Gross. That would never happen to me. My hair would dry before I even had the chance of like grabbing it and putting it in a bun. It's dry.
Yeah. No, I've had to go to sleep with my two braids just to give me something, and so I wouldn't have to use a hair dryer, and my hair will still be wet fully the next day, and I will have to like take them out, blow dry it, and then try to put them back in so that
My God.
but it's
What a nightmare.
Too much hair, guys.
What we are trying to say is we are in an age of information where you can just find things out. So Rachel's still young. So like I'm saying this as a 32-year-old woman. I have gone through many phases of, oh, this thing I was taught in my white Mormon culture isn't correct. Yeah. And let's regroup and go from there. But like that for me is like a little bit rooted in self-loathing. Like I didn't like the person that I was raised to be. And so I've been actively looking for happier and more accepting places. A lot of people, especially younger people in the South, privileged, they haven't had that moment of like, oh, I actually don't like this person that I have been raised to be, and haven't had a chance to do it. Rachel, this is probably her first instance of learning about it. And so I'm sure she's kind of taking it all in and just like waiting. And now it's like, I understand. And also I'm sure has, I don't know if she like has Matt on speed dial or can text him. Like they went through a lot in this show. I don't know how far she makes it, but like, I feel like she should be able to be like, oh my God, like, can you help? Like, or even so, just Google. I don't know. Just Google. Basically, she wants to make a statement, and ABC said no. And then they said, okay, you can do it, but we're going to control you, and it's like 100 words. So now she's dealing with her reaction to her being racist, the world's reaction to her being racist, and ABC's being a bunch of fucking misogynists. Remember when Garrett from Becca's season had a whole history of things? I don't know what they told him he could do, but he released a 300 plus word statement on the episode 1, got ahead of it, did all the things. And Rachel hasn't been given that same grace by production. I'm sure she's trying to just be like a good girl, follow the rules. Yeah. But like, this has to be so frustrating.
Oh, I mean,
and we're all frustrated too, because it's like, you're a public figure and we want to hold you accountable and we don't even know what you think.
Yeah. I mean, she sat on this for 6 weeks. These allegations started as soon as she was announced. I mean, all of the fans deep dive and find these things out. And it's just
Sammie, it's not even a deep dive, it's like a shallow dive, because
it's a very shallow dive.
laid bare on the internet. Like it's
like
so easy
right on her Facebook.
Yeah.
Right on her Instagram. Yeah, and I feel like it's only gotten worse because it's allowed people, since they're not getting any kind of statement from her, now they're like, okay, well, now I need to go through her family's posts. Now I need to go through her friends' posts and just start digging to build a case.
When we don't have like a loop, we don't have a loop end to like close this story. We don't have a thing we hear from her. People are gonna have to source information from somewhere else. So like, that's what's happening here. And it's just so annoying. ABC could have just push out a statement. We'll help you with our PR people. Like we can do like, it doesn't have to be this. And now Rachel's life is just kind of in like a free fall. She'll be fine. Like she's not going to be canceled. She has so many followers. She's going to be okay. But it's just like, this show lets their people down every single time. We usually don't see them like shitting on their lead of choice, but like Juan Pablo completely wrecked. Claire completely wrecked.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand how this is the team that's making a show. Obviously, people are watching it. It is the most popular dating show in America and probably now in the world.
I think it's one of the oldest.
But it's just like, it's really yucky. like, and so transparent. Like, I feel like I'm just complaining.
No.
So much complaining, but it's just
No, it's okay. I mean, at least all of this is being brought to her attention. Our hope is that she's taking all of this feedback in and that she's saying, you know what, I want to be a better person. I'm sure all of her and her friends have never seen how these actions affect other people not like them. And this is the first time seeing that. And so it can be jarring. And I think just if they had some kind of PR team that just said, you know what, or a therapist, God forbid,
a coach, anyone,
somebody that would be
anyone.
like, hey, let's chat about this. You know, what feelings is all of this bringing up in you? Let's talk through them. And then, like, you know what, here's the deal, these actions hurt people. Like, have another white person educate her, because it is not fair for Black people to continuously have to educate us time and time again. It's exhausting.
Yes. Or, I mean, so what Ashley Spivey and Reality Steve talked about, they did some call to action. It's like a 90-minute live. If you guys want to tune in, it's on Reality Steve's page. We'll cover most of the stuff, but they did a call to action at the end. And Ashley Spivey's like, I'm very dedicated to doing anti-racist stuff. There are courses you can take. And she throws out names. Well, we can link this in our show notes. I'll put it in my stuff. But she was like, there are courses you can take. You have to pay money because we can't expect these Black women to do this emotional labor for us. Like, we should pay them for their knowledge. We should pay them for their expertise. And she's like, there are books. There are Taylor Mocha. Tay Mocha is her Instagram. Taylor is her name. I don't remember her last name right now. But she was on Nick's season of The Bachelor. She was like the one that was pitted against Corinne. She has a podcast that was released in either May or June of 2020 called, the name of the episode is White People. If you don't want to pay for shit, listen to that. Let the money go to the ads. And like, she will lay it all out for you.
And Google.
Yeah, or things. Google. Yeah. And it's just so hard. It's hard for us because like, we don't know what Rachel's thoughts are because we don't have a statement. We have her being like, saw green juice once and now I'm wearing a tie-dye set on my outfit. Like, she's doing a full influencer Instagram. And I know she's trying to like stay above the public fray, but it's like, we need to hear what you think. Like, the show needs to allow her to speak.
Yeah, it's only going to keep further negatively impacting her. I don't know if she's losing followers at this point, but she was the lead in follower counts until Katie passed her up. I don't know if the other girls are passing her up too now, but
yeah,
within the last couple days, Katie passed her up.
Okay, I mean, that makes sense with like Katie showing on this episode and the
the
possible tea that we might be having from the filming of the Women Tell All. Also, Katie's a fucking badass and everyone should be following her.
Katie's one of my favorite contestants of all time. She just was.
I still think she needs, if she does not show up to that Women Tell All in a Xena the Warrior Princess costume, she's canceled. Canceling is bad unless it's Katie not wearing a Xena costume and then we are canceling her. Yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just railing on everybody all the time.
This might have to be its own episode.
Kate has feelings and a beauty light.
Kate at 8.
Kate at 8, baby.
You know, educate yourselves. There's lots of resources. Googling what some of these words mean, cultural appropriation. There's a lot of articles on these things.
Sign up for the anti-racism daily. Yeah. I'm on beer too, y'all.
Yeah, like there's lots of ways for us to educate ourselves as white people.
But the best thing you can do is just admit that you're dumb and you're also really dumb and like you're listening.
Yeah, you're
because you're dumb.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Just you know, if somebody calls you out on something, just be open for the feedback of it and thank them for taking the time to check you.
Or if someone calls out another white person and you want to defend them, think about it. Are you being triggered because you're a bad person, Chris Harrison? I don't know.
I mean,
Also, sign the petition to get a new host. We need Rachel Lindsay as the new host of The Bachelor.
if
Doesn't even
she's
have
not
to be
too
Rachel
busy.
Lindsay. It's just not Chris Harrison.
Yeah.
He's this bad, benevolent dad who is like keeping us in a weird time frame. We need something new, something fresh. Also, fire your entire team of producers and get more diversity. Or cancel the show, maybe just cancel the show.
Burn it to the ground, start over.
Yeah, there were a bunch of times where my sister was like, I hate this show. Why are we watching this? And my brother-in-law was like, you said it. I'm going to record that. Can you say it one more time? So when you try to watch this next season, I can say, you hate this show.
I go through it myself every season. I'm always hopeful for the next season to be better, and it's the same shit over and over again.
We got a really nice bright light with Tasha, which is why we are here recording this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it is emotionally exhausting and taxing to watch just these just bad behaviors all around.
Bad behaviors and just like unnecessary trauma.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like triggering behaviors towards dating and love that come up that often make me question my own attitudes, and like they'll trigger stuff that I've worked through a lot of times where I'm like, oh, I don't like watching that.
Victoria being a mean girl, like that was my dance studio vibe. That was the vibe at my own house growing up. And like that casual, just like meanness all the time was extremely triggering to me, because that's like a comfortable place for me. Like that's a comfortable spot for me to want to go into when I'm unhappy and I'm not feeling my strongest. So like, I mean, the show,
it brings out the worst
though. Like it gets us talking. You know how much content and shit I took in today just to get prepared for us to record this. Too much shit. My sister's like, this is a full-time job. And I was like, well, duh, I'm a professional podcaster. But I also have another 40-hour work week that I
yeah.
And I'm also taking care of my little nephew too. So it's been like a really fun. I'm tired. Can you imagine being a Black woman in this world?
Yeah.
I feel for them. It's Black History Month. Venmo a Black woman, $1,000. She deserves it, 100%.
And more. Yeah.
Yeah.